Hello everybody and welcome to the 6v6 Summer Brawl powered by Gladiator.tf. I am Rook, joined by Lucky, as we are getting ready to bring you the matchup between SKEDDA and VNC here in the semi-finals. And I mean, it's a game I'm very much excited for. You were talking to me, Lucky, about how exciting these rosters are, obviously with the players such as Lucas and with Yak and the crew really coming together in this tournament. Could you give us a little bit of a rundown of what we should expect to see?
Yeah, basically what we're going to be looking to see in this game is, can Yak withstand the pure firepower of the combination of Af and Yak, not Yak, and Lucas Stank and Warped all in the same team, with Max screaming down the microphone at these players. I mean, Lucas Stank is not the loudest player in the world, but Mac is definitely going to make up for that in the comms. And if I think there were going to be TF2 pundits, I think they put their pennies on the Warped team to work SKEDDA to win this game. But the Yak team, they could do well. They could surprise us. You never know. They've got some good players on the roster. They've got Tiram. They've got Vanu. They've got Yak the man himself, who's actually been playing pretty well recently. I'm not going to be on him too much. But yeah, they're doing pretty well for themselves. They've made it this far in the tournament, and I'm excited to see how they do going forwards.
Yeah, no, I'm really interested as well. You've been talking up some of these players to me in pre-game, and I'm really interested to see, especially how these mids are going. You were telling me that they were going to be likely quite bombastic, which is always a good way to see things going. But as you were saying, if you're a betting man, you'd put your cheddar on SKEDDA. So that makes a lot of sense to me, especially with, as I highlighted, Lucas being such a strong player. But I mean, it's definitely not to count out the side of VNC. They have been on a tear, as you kind of highlighted before, and I'm interested to see if they're able to keep up that kind of pressure, because I mean, there's a lot of emotional players on that side of the team. We've got 3 maps ahead of us, and things can massively change in that time. There's something you've always got to keep in mind.
Yeah, you got to be wondering how much the tilt is going to be turning up in this game for Yak. I mean, he's been a bit of a tilter in the past, but I feel like as time's gone on, he's kind of simmered down, but we'll sort of see what happens. Time will tell. We do have some map pick bans on the board here. We've got a classic granary ban for very naughty Chuds, and SKEDDA then banning out product, which is a very smart maneuver. If you get Terramon Sniper on product, it's terrifying. And also Vanu is also pretty good at Sniper. You just basically don't want to play product into them. It's a wild card map. Don't take the risk. Just ban it out. It's a very smart maneuver. And on the other side from Very Naughty Chuds, another smart ban as well. You don't want to be playing into Geordie and Warped on Granary. It's a combination for hell on earth. So they're just going to pick up Snake Water as the first map. Nice slow map to start things out. In response, the classic map, El Clasico as I call it, process. Very, it's a pick. It's the sixes map, I feel like. But moving forwards, Sunshine, Metalworks, Gully Wash, Bagel banned. I guess we just hate Koth, and so that leaves Sultry. Everyone forgets about Sultry, and therefore it was left until last, and therefore it's the last pick.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't managed to get any casts of Sultry under my belt just yet, so interested to see how that's going to go. I'm a real big fan of Sultry as a map, kind of playing it, but it might be a bit more interesting when you're kind of watching high-level players do that rather than myself. Yeah, I think it should be an interesting way to close out the series if we manage to make it there. And I feel like we'll make it there with these teams. I think that there is enough firepower on either side that it should be as close as we can really get.
Yeah, I think that this map definitely favours those with a little bit more patience. I would say that the team of SKEDDA probably has a lot more patience than the Yak team. Yak team known for just shoving it in occasions where they maybe shouldn't shove it. And end up losing points and ultimately losing rounds as a result. It's been probably their biggest downfall as a team, but also probably their biggest upside as a team as well. They're probably the most aggressive team, I'd say. They definitely send it a lot, so excited to see that happen every now and again. But Snake Water, if I was going to put my money on it, like I said before, SKEDDA would be the one to go for. But like you mentioned, it could go the distance. Process will favour the bold of Yak, most likely. We'll see what happens, I guess. But any sort of mini predictions you want to throw out there? Map 1?
I don't know. I have to agree with you. I think that this map is one that favours the patient. I have to agree that I think SKEDDA are definitely the team who will be able to pick a win there. I think that the aggression can be a double-edged sword, right? Some people always say it's two sides of the same coin, griefing and being decisive. But I think that this team will definitely err on the side of decisive, and I love to see teams who are able to just pounce on those opportunities. The question is, how many opportunities are going to be available to them here on Snakewater, a map that has a lot of these kind of chokes that are hard to push through some of the time, might be a position where things like the sniper, obviously Max, I don't know if you guys can see the ball, you can indeed. Obviously Max is going to be on sniper, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some of that coming out to try and break some of these stalemates or something along those lines.
Yeah, things to look out for in this game really are going to be Yak swapping off to his signature. He plays Demo, and now demos don't usually off-class in Team Fortress 2, for those of you that don't know. But Yak has been known to go spy every now and again and back cap, and Snakewater has been known for it. So if there's an ace in the sleeve, it's probably that one. A little bit more of information for everyone involved as well is that Eon was originally cut from this Mac team as well. He was playing Medic, and Mac was playing on Demo, and they decided, Eon, you're out of the team. You're not coming to Poland with us. We're gonna swap the classes around. I'm gonna play Medic, and you're gonna go away. So Eon now playing on the opposite team, little bit of a grudge match, and I would say that if Eon ends up winning this game, that Mac is gonna uninstall.
I think that's fair. It would be kind of brutal after dropping him like that. But we're getting dropped right on into the game as we're getting in right now, ready for this first mid. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how these mids go because of the things you told me about how Lucas quite likes to play this. Sorry, or maybe it was Yak. Sorry, maybe I misremember.
Big Yak. Yeah. We're going to be following him on the rollout here. Is he making his way into mid? Nice and speedy. Going to swing across those stickies. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, looking to see exactly how they managed to get some of that damage early and maybe set for an opportunity, but it is a slightly slower mid, at least this time. Wants to try and cut off the top right-hand corner here, because you can already see APH in that good position if that opened up, but neither team's really exposing themselves to too much damage as they get prepped for a little bit more, but Yak steps forward, really wants to take them off that high ground, give their team a little bit more space as they push forward right here, but Lucas catches Yak, and that's a big. Now they're left unguarded. Hiram goes on in, they lose a couple of players, and they completely shut them down.
That's what I mean. The patience favours the ball on the Snakewater. Blue team are a little bit more patient with it. Red team just going to send it over the point and just get caught out for it. Nice defensive positions like you mentioned before from AF, so able to just catch those soldiers and also catch rockets in the face and just eat one for his team. So, you know, now they're going to be moving on to second. Even Ubers, we're going to see a sentry gun. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now's a good time to stick the kettle on the boil. We're going to be here for a little while as they try and poke out last. Now, this is definitely probably one of the hardest last points to push in the game. You need to get on top of this gun very early if you're going to. It's currently level 1. They're going to be sitting in Warped early with the heavy up as well. Another defensive class there. Warped is held in the skybox, and that's going to be a delay now. He's going to be respawning. That sentry's going to get to level 3. It's going to be sad.
Yeah, it's going to make this very, very difficult to push. And I do love as well that the side of VNC instantly go over to those two off classes. They are not mucking around. They're not looking for anything else. They even, after that pick, swap Janu over onto that sniper. Like we said, looking to try and break those stalemates. If someone starts to push forward, let's say, for example, Jordy, or even if SNH pushes this angle, could easily get picked. Is tempting fate a little bit there, and I think is wisened up to that position being held by the sniper. And as a result, is not opening themselves up to any aggression.
Yeah, just going to be holding that dot just on the wall there. Doesn't really get yourself away. And we have a pause already. Tactical pause, ladies and gentlemen. The tilt. Is it tilting? I don't think so, actually. Probably
I hope not this early, man. Like, that would be a little bit disappointing. Where, like, a couple minutes into map 1, like, chill out. I think that, you know, it's not going to make much of a difference for this, at least this position in Snakewater for a little while, as we are going to have, as you said earlier, quite a slow scenario. But I think what's really a good usage of this time is potentially to kind of break down what looks like a win here for the side of SKEDDA, because you said about taking down that turret early, but now it's up. What's the problem? How do they break this?
Well, they're going to sit the dispenser. They're going to sit Eon on the floor, and he's going to be fine just chilling in there. So some of the ways that people have broken this in the past is you can trade through lower and you can do an Uber onto the center, etc. Do blah, 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 blah. You just don't peek top right because the sniper's going to be peeking it for an eternity and someone's going to get a headshot. Now, ultimately, what happens sometimes on this map is that soldiers get a little bit creative. We see some man treads here and there. So if you pop over to Warped and you just have a look at him, he's wearing those booties because he went and died earlier to the sentry gun. So he has got the man treads on right now, which reduces the sentry force damage. So probably they're going to go for a double bomb. They're going to send in Geordie first. He's going to eat some shit from the sentry gun. And then Warped's going to go in behind him and hopefully kill the med. That's the game plan, at least.
Yeah, and then utilize that Uber advantage. Just go for it. I mean, that makes sense. I have seen a lot of people kind of talking about that, man. Chuds, it is really integral to breaking that down. And obviously, people are like, oh, but I love the I can't remember the name of the other boots. I can't remember why. Gunboats. Apologies. I mean, obviously losing that would be really important in any other scenario. But if you're pushing into the last inning, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. So making some of these swaps really can help in breaking these down. So other than that, they're kind of obviously trying to play around these, making sure that they have lobby, making sure they can lock down this kind of staging point, because otherwise they're giving a lot more space over. Will we getting on pause there for a second?
That's the repause happening.
Oh, classic.
Repause so that they can get the player in the server. For those of you that are unaware, just it looks like we've got someone that's disconnected. So yep. From SKEDDA, someone disconnected. Hopefully it's not the medic. That would be very sad if it was Mac, but I doubt it very much. So we'll see what happens. Oh, it's Lucas Tank's internet. This is a classic.
There we go. We are back on in. So it looks all A-OK right now. And as you said, Vanu set up on the good position. Only on level 2 right now, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference, at least for shooting these soldiers out of the sky for the red bar.
We're now up into lobby. Everyone's getting buffed. Everyone's getting in position. They're just going to start poking with these soldiers, getting to 300. See what you can do prior to this push taking place. They're just going to send their soldiers in, most likely directly through the shutter door. There they go. There goes one. There goes two. They're in. They're flying high. On they get them from. Easy clap. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen.
That was huge. Really well played. And it's exactly as you described to us, kind of going straight for the opportunity. As soon as that first player goes in, eats so much hate. Vanu tries to extend and maybe get something, but actually gets picked off there. An interesting decision to kind of go for here. And I think they're looking kind of at last gasp scenarios. A Sentry already down. You can see the push is getting ready to come on in. This is exactly what they want to go for. The Uber has come through. They're sitting on point. There are sticks. Yes. As Lucas is trying to lock down, they split away from each other, kind of gone to either side of the different points, and Lucas is actually pushing forward super aggressively here to try and cut this apart, but it is traded back and forth. There's a couple kills, but finally SNH lands those shots and will finish it up. SKEDDA take that first one, and this puts them in a dominating position.
Yeah, that was a scuffed push originally, I will admit, from Mac. Since Mac was the first person to run through the lower door, he just used the Uber, ran through the door, and his team were like, wait, we're using Uber? And they did use incredibly early, and it was looking a little bit rough with those respawners, but they managed to get it in the end. Lucas Tank dishes out about 9 billion damage, makes a spreadsheet, and there you go, round over.
Yeah, no, really nicely done, and Lucas up in an aggressive position, similar to Yak again this time, kind of playing very similar positions as to what we saw before, but Yak already stepping a lot more forward, feeling like they need to change something up from that last one, because if you give Lucas enough time, he's able to do a lot of work here, so looking to try and shut that down and shut them out as Vanu already playing on the high ground with Junu, and they really want to go for it. The jumps come on in, and they're looking for a little bit more, but it's Tiramo actually gets completely denied that one. That health is getting so low for both Yak and Eon, they had to fall on back, and it will be a really strong mid yet again from the side of SKEDDA, and they're just trying to catch them as they push on in. Look at APH going for that one.
That is another medic drop there. Eon dropping the Uber again, not running directly out of Sword. They hung around for no reason. Soldier bombs in from warp. Very nice clean up there as well, coming out from the scouts. So they just get it all, and that's going to be 2 drops in a row for Eon. No Ubers to his name in this game. Yak still has 0 points. He's done nothing this game, so they really need to sort of like try and turn up the heat on these mids, make some things happen if they can. If they're going aggressive, they need to not do this sort of like half-assed aggression where they're just sending in, you know, just the soldiers and they're not following it up. So they do need to change that, and now they're looking to go into the last push with the Falad.
They are already setting up in these positions. The turret, as we said before, is there, but Lucas eating a bit of damage. Not going to get caught most likely here. Needs some healing, man. As they pop the Uber and they just go straight on in. Will mean that that health is a lot less relevant. Instead, they're going to sticky spam and try to spawn camp a little bit there. They take control yet again. Janu is trying to stand on point and does manage to keep them back, but quite a decent amount of time. They're buying enough space, buying enough time for their team to not immediately lose here. SNH looking for a chance to go on forward and catch someone, but it's just APH and him and, well, Jordy kind of contesting this. They are still going for it. They almost get it, but Jordy is denied. Yak does just about save the day.
Yak is no longer bottom of the scoreboard. He is now, in fact, top of the scoreboard after that last one. Very nicely defended coming out from him. And, I mean, Yeah, once again, they use out the Uber early, they get the sentry gun they're looking for, a bit of an early flash onto the point, but another bomb in from Warpdog second, and the force out onto Eon, so he's going to get an Uber, but that's really, really bad if you're VNC.
Yeah, it really is. They're going to have to kind of, well, just slow down again, which is really not what they want to do. They wanted to escape from it. They got a good position. They managed to actually win the fight finally, but it might not be enough for them to really contest this. Not with Lucas playing like he does. Sure, he sacks himself, but he completely guts that push there. And Eon falling as well. It has all fallen apart for VNC, and maybe a little bit of that emotional play coming on through. They're not able to take it too far. They'll need to reset and likely maybe even lose this last point almost straight away. KN gone, and the rest are likely soon to follow here as APH and SNH are jumping on that point. The Uber is used a little late here, but still gives them enough space to just capture that point, and SKEDDA move to 2.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. They just get their force out on second, and then going on from there, they're a player down. They all decide to run into lower for no reason rather than regrouping on second, and they get punished for it in the end. So now they're heading to another mid-fight. This is already 2 rounds in, 8 minutes off the clock. It's going pretty quickly so far for a Snake War, Matt.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just because the side of SKEDDA have been so controlling, and they've managed to push through some pretty difficult defenses and find some success and really flip things on the head when things looked a little bit more dire for them. Tiram is caught down here, but just about manages to escape for now, has some backup, so that scout is denied. We'll go back up near 200 here, contesting, wanting to get that fight, but they managed to find a lot more with taking away Jord as well. That is the Jord and the demo as well. That's going to be a lot of success, and does mean that VNC are in the advantage for the first time here.
Indeed, they have the player out, they're heading into the second. A very nice mid-fight coming out from them in the end. But they managed to get that 1v1 going in Kitchen. And then Max spent, I don't know, about 15 seconds trying to boat Af, who kept moving. So they had no heals going into their demo. So Lucas Tank just got ran over. It looks like they are doing a very, very early sack once again, getting that level 1 sentry gun destroyed, and then just sort of jumping around the last, creating some space as they are going to maybe be able to get 2 soldiers in. Looks like they get a bit of pressure, they get too weak, and they're just going to decide to call it quits while they're ahead, get healed back up again, and reset. Ubers are now even, so once again, going to be looking for some kind of creative sack. The gun's not forward in a position though, so Tiram's going to be able to spam that one from drop down, and it's going to take a while for them to get set up now because they had this early pressure before.
I love the way they're splitting up the map right now. See how deep this player is, and KN even takes down Lucas there. That's a huge pick. That's going to make things very difficult, and maybe this emotional play is starting to come on through as they're feeling that swell forward. Can the side of VNC take this all the way to the back? APH gets a good shot onto Junu there, stopping at least some of the power they have to move on forwards. But they're not actually committing towards very much. Eon's quite far back. I really thought that Lucas going down was going to be kind of a signpost for them, but it didn't look like they were comfortable enough with it.
Yeah, and now the gun is in the spot, so we're going to see if they can execute the same thing that SKEDDA managed to do earlier on, if they can replicate that success. But if not, once again, grab yourself a cup of tea. We're going to be chilling out on the last point here. Although, I have to say, SNH building the dispenser in a pretty strange spot. I feel like this one's fallen out of favour. Just because of the shutter peak. So if they have a sniper, which they currently do, if they peek the shutter door on the far left side of the last, they can peek in and just shoot you against the dispenser and maybe get a little crack on you, and you get a headshot in the end. But Mac is going to have to hide underneath the staircase instead in order to avoid that sniper sight line. In the meantime, Lucas Tank in a very precarious spot is definitely in the firing line for the sniper.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, you really need to be a little bit more careful about that. I think that, I mean, if they lose that again, they lost Jordy there, which isn't the worst player to lose to be fair in this scenario, but it does still mean, again, that push is a lot more likely. They're trying to set up by a little bit more space for the side of KN here. It's taking damage, but importantly is not down. APH over on that sniper wants to find something more. Tiram falls, and so does Vanu. That's a good couple of picks, but I don't think necessarily enough to push out, especially with a player over on the engineer and on the sniper, means that they don't necessarily have that power, especially with KN locking down this sight line at this point in time.
Yeah, the downside to Snake Water a lot of the time is that even if you do get 2 picks, you can't really push out of last. There's so many opportunities for players to go back cap. They can just drag you out in second because it's such a large second. So there's not a lot you can really do to get out there. But Vanu has committed to the espionage. I smell baguettes in the air.
He'll have a stab at it, see if he can take down that turret, maybe set up for a bomb of some description, or just look for the medic if they can try and find that. But with the positioning that a lot of these players are in, it might be a little bit more difficult. Yak going down to that sticky is crazy to me. They're already pushing out. Look how far forward that soldier is. And Vardu wants to go for it, but SNH will not let that one happen. And the scouts, or scout players, will shut down that attempt. But, importantly, they're not looking to push out right now against SKEDDA. Playing very slow, playing very patient.
Yeah, unfortunately, Af was rotating on the decloak, and he just got caught out. Just poor timing, all in all. But he couldn't see past the water tower, so he didn't even know he was there. So it's a little bit sad for him in the end. But what can you do? Once again, bit of a reset. The clock winding down. Only 1 minute 20 left before we get a round reset. So they're sticking to this KN sniper. They do want to try and make it work. They're going to still peek for some shots, but I think that likely when it starts getting around this time, you're looking at an Uber trade more than anything else. So we're going to see what happens. Headshot comes down to Warp. That's a very good start, but everyone's weak. Oh, Lucas kills himself with his own stickies!
Oh my
Disaster!
God. It seems like the demos just don't like being alive in this game. SNH will be forced back by that Uber usage. They will be able to keep, only for a small amount of time, that turret alive. They will actually have to back off. And the Uber is trying to keep some semblance of control. But with both your scouts on off classes, what can you do here? Mac is desperately trying to get something going, but Lucas is picked out of the air. And they're alone as a brilliant play here from VNC off the back of a slip up from Lucas. Does mean it's 2-1.
Yeah, Lucas Giga throw, but nice capitalizing from VNC there. They just make it happen in the end. If you see that demo man kill himself, bosh, they're straight in. They don't care. They take the Uber trade immediately before he can get his respawner. Just slap out the point, easy piece of lemon squeezy, and KN ultimately hitting a bunch of headshots. If he hits nothing there, I think it's a different story.
Oh, I love this little sticky trap here from Lucas because we've been seeing a lot of aggression from the soldiers into this kind of side angle. So, love that they're trying to cut it off, but speaking of aggression, Yak and the gang push forward as anything. Even however is cut off from the rest of them. Half health Yak, they take down Tiram. Can they move forward and take more control of this here? I'm not surprised to see those two scouts running away. They have nothing to back them up. However, this time, very importantly, VNC do maintain their medic.
Yeah, once again, a very, very slow control mid, and they're going to make their way into grass, not wasting any time here. Getting loads of spam down onto the scouts, just taking in Jordy in with the high bomb. He's going to be strafing around onto Bats. He goes actually in behind. He's going to have to try and take a 1v1 versus Tiram, and he's not doing too great as the Uber trade looks like it's coming out, but it's much better for Mac. He still hasn't used. Juno's beefed everything. They finally use up this Uber charge, and it's going to be up to second. Eon is going to be able to escape in the lobby. Tons of damage from Lucas Stank, and it's all over for them in the lobby area.
You know, I completely understand. You were telling me, hey, Lucas might be, well, probably is one of the best demos in the world. And I believe it there because that entire scenario came off the back of Lucas getting a force on the medic. Shot them with a sticky, took them to half, and sent a pipe directly towards their face. And I think on reaction, Eon very sensibly went, well, I don't want to die here. Uses the Uber, means that it's not an Uber trade, it's a force into a very, very drawn-out situation where they can just play slow, they can really just milk that Uber for all of its worth. Brilliantly done by SKEDDA, and in particular by Lucas.
Yeah, indeed, and a nice last push as well, coming out there, warped just straight into the spawn door. As soon as they hit the last point, just cuts them off entirely. They can't even get out the door, and yeah, back to another mid-fight here, Rook.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see how this one goes down because it has been a lot of interesting things being tried by the side of BNC, seeing if they can try and get an advantage here. And it has worked out for them at least once. Let's see if they can make leverage off that again. Juno's starting to back up, took a lot of damage here as the rest of the team is taking a lot as well, but they managed to cut APH down as they try and get aggressive. You can see here that Warp wants to make something happen, but the rest of their team goes, it's just not there. And they do have to back out, so that's a 1 mid here for the side of VNC. Let's see if they can push through, and let's see if they can capitalize a little bit more on the push that we saw from last time.
Yeah, and once again, it's a nice disengage coming out from the side of Warp's team with SKEDDA there, but now they're having to move backwards. They've not got their Uber just yet. They're about to get it, and now they're in a precarious situation where they might get forced. KN going for a bomb, lands onto Bats, and they can either ignore him or deal with him straight away. Nice bomb in there from Jordy as well, getting the force, and now we're in an Uber trade situation most likely.
Yeah, they even take KN before they even use it. A lot of damage coming down yet again from Lucas. Look behind. There is still a soldier there. Unsure if they spotted him. I think they may have. But it's something to always keep in mind, as that soldier could do a lot of work if given the space, if given the time to do so, as Yak is just putting down stickies, trying to buy a little bit of extra time, and setting a C team up to potentially contest this, but I don't disagree with the idea of them backing away. Maybe trying to buy space for Tyram to have a little bit more success.
Yeah, Tyram just chilling out in the back line at the moment. They're going to get the rest of their team together, start heading forward, see what they can do, and gain some space and momentum into the second. And looks like they're just going to send it. They're going to leave Jordy in behind to do a little bit of manoeuvring to make sure that Tyram can't really do anything here. We heard Vanu there. He's currently in the forward spawner on the classic. He gets half with it as well. Okay. That's what you like to see. He blows him up with the classic, but now you've got players going forwards. Everyone is super weak on this blue side, and they're all just going to start getting picked apart. Mac drops all his players. Mac has no one left alive. He has full Uber and nowhere to go. He's in the sand zone.
Oh man, that's actually so looking nice surfs, but unfortunately not enough. He's not making it, unfortunately. Too many players hounding them. And yeah, I mean, that's really, really nicely played for VNC. I love the performance one actually finding the pick there, and obviously here as well. But the fact that they led off the back of that to get such an advantage was huge. And honestly, not something I expected. I thought it was going to be, again, another kind of reset into very little ground really gained. But VNC, I said before, I mean, we see a bit of griefing in this game from the demo men in particular, accidentally killing themselves a couple of times, but that decisiveness, that's been the thing which has really shined through for the side of VNC.
Good to see what they want to do here as well. I would totally agree with you. VNC are on the front foot at the moment by the looks of things. Even though they're 3-1 down, they're still trying their best to get in this game. But Genu beats his life away. Flight comes in from Vanu as well. So Lucas Tank nearly going down here on second. Does in fact go down, and this is looking like a lost second. Eon with that full Uber is just going to start waltzing his way in. And they need to get the hell out of dodge. And we're going to see how they want to take this next fight coming into last. Because if they wait too long, they're going to get the Uber charge. It's up to 75% already. This is no longer looking like a push, and they're probably not going to shove it in. Although I say that, Yak wants in. He's in on left.
Oh, you know it. They really want to take that space, and I honestly, truly respect that. They want to make sure that they can get something going on these positions. Aggression coming through here from the scouts as they push right on top of that one. But it is, in fact, the heavy that will cut down the bombing Yak. And unfortunately for him, I need to remind Yak that those are land animals. They're not birds of any kind. Stay the hell on the ground, man.
Where have we seen this before? A medic running away with full Uber and has to... He actually pops this one out. Mac dropped his one, but Eon's run away with his and has used out the Ubers. Now Mac has full out. But we saw that literally moments ago on the opposite side of the map where a medic has to run away with full Uber. Very sad for his medic. But he just couldn't link up with anyone on the last. If you do use other Uber, it's going to be terrible. So, I mean, you know, gets forced. It's very unfortunate. And now we're heading into another big fight, but things are kind of over already.
Yeah. Not really able to find too much. Jordan does get taken down. SNH is very, very low here, so maybe they're able to turn something. The Uber is used here, so this is actually a very good situation for VNC to actually get that out. But with Eon getting picked off there, it did not work out for them in the end. They're going to have to re-aggress, and I think very good call for them to do so, because otherwise they're just likely going to lose this one anyway. But they get cut down as they try to get aggressive, and it doesn't work out in the way they want. They were making a gamble, and I love that they're willing to go for things like this, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, after losing Eon, definitely the right play just to send everyone in, try and sack for the medic, do what you can. But Yak here, absolutely throwing the game with his aggression once again. He's going to feed on second, and that's going to be no demo man on last and an Uber distant to boot. So there's going to be a lot of advantages here if you are the side of SKEDDA heading in towards this last. They're going to put the super as much as they can, head in towards lower, and see if they can make some space price the super.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if, in particular, we can get these demos into good positions, because that seems to be the key, at least especially for both of these teams, because when those demos are in the right spot, the pain just seems to unload. And, I mean, Lucas is already pushing up, has the Uber, and that will allow him to do just that. Cuts away the Sentry, cuts away extra players, with all the fat being trimmed here with KN going down. Mac pushed away, however, there's a couple of good frags, in particular from Junu. Managing to deny that. I really thought off the back of Lucas managing to shut down so much of the point, they were going to find some success there, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, just not enough damage being pulled into the heavy fast enough. Ends up being just a very, very, very long last push that doesn't quite make it happen in the end. So Gonna head out on second. Basically, even it was very small out for Mac, and it looks like they are wanting to get aggressive on second. Now, this is exactly what you want to do if you're the blue team, get the space before they can get in position. And Eon's actually on bats right now. He doesn't want to commit to this, and now John drops down off of bats, but they're in a poor position. They do lose SNH early on. This is going to turn into a very interesting fight.
Yeah, they lose Geordie as well, but they at least managed to trade that one back. You can see already Mac very worried about those dives and dive bombs coming on in. They do back away. They do manage to keep awake and around for them to play with, but yeah, lose a lot again. And I think the patience we were highlighting from this SKEDDA team has not been so at least evident in the last couple of rounds, and I think that's been a major pain point for them, is that they're playing to the speed that VNC want to play, and that has not been where they've had their success.
SH Sniper, oh, he peeks but he misses. He peeks again, but he misses again.
But App gets right up in there, is almost taking one down, but doesn't quite manage it, is left alone. He managed to seemingly make it out, but they lose Geordie, they lose a decent amount of space as well, and with no Uber, things are not looking the best for them, as they will have to fall back somewhat.
As well on second, he is all alone. Just trying to make a little bit of space, but they're just going to use this as an opportunity to bust. There's going to be no engineer whatsoever, so they're going to make their way in. They're just flooding onto this point. Nice rocket out just to deny the point there. It's going to be 3-2. Wow, that's incredible stuff. Coming out from the side of VNC, capitalizing on the players being down and capitalizing on the player being in the back lines. And they just clean it up. It's going to be 2-3, and we have an absolute game on our hands here, bro.
There's not a huge amount of time, only about 8 minutes left, and this is a map that, as we said, can be very slow. I think the VNC, if they keep this momentum up, as I said, emotional team, it is a double-edged sword, because when they're hot, they are hot. This team is absolutely blitzing when they're in the right position and when they're in the right mindset, and we have seen that in the last couple of rounds. SKEDDA need to chill out and slow things down, otherwise they're likely going to get run over in these last couple of minutes.
Women fight taking place. Jordan with a bomb, walked on the high ground as well on the right side. He's going to need a bow as well. And bomb in from Tiram. He's going in nice and deep onto Geordie, seeing what he can do as well. And looks like the bomb's coming across. Warp's going to clear him on the back line. Tiram in behind onto Mac. Trying to land rockets, and he lands it. So Eon needs to get cleaned up by Warp here. Can he do it? He gets surfed, and he lives. Nope, Geordie's in. He's in.
Really nice pick for them to be able to find, because obviously otherwise there would have been a major disad coming into it, and likely would have been a roll all the way to last here. But overall, again, getting kind of caught out by some of that aggression. Love the fact that they turned back to try and go for, I think it was Tiram, who was in the backline, and aren't able to find anything. But with that opening that Terran provided for the rest of the team, they push forward instantly. They're in position, they're on the high ground, they're denying away, and they get aggressive. They take players off, just like Yak takes off SNH there, and yet again cuts away the aggression, cuts away at the force that that SKEDDA are able to kind of put on out. They do manage to strike back, but with it being a soldier, it means that the aggression still isn't able to come on through. You need to take away maybe like both of these scouts or something like that if you really want to try and get aggressive in a lot of these positions, or kind of importantly, the demo man.
Indeed. And Tiram as well. He's going to be up on the sniper, taking a sweet time peeking to lower. Just trying to find any angles, to be honest. Any players that are going to be overextending, but SKEDDA already on the front foot, understanding the situation. So they're going to start making their way. Tiram's going to go for the window snipe, see what he can find here onto anyone that's either on the wood boards or on the pipe or anything like that. And he's going to be rotating around, just seeing if he can find any picks whatsoever before they decide to do anything.
It's really interesting to me seeing Tiram go onto this. They've not got a huge amount of time, only just under 6 minutes now, but I love the fact that they're feeling comfortable, feeling confident that they can find this and can just run the whole way through. They've found a couple of the picks so far, we just need to see that little bit more. Geordie moving back on forward to try and put some pressure on and finish on up, but Tiram just barely survives. But again, that will buy the time that they might so sorely need, as the clock is moving again towards 5 minutes, and Snakewater is a map that really can bog things down.
I will admit as well, the sniping from window is very limited, so he's going to rotate onto lower, see what he can do here, making his way in nice and deep. See if he can get any feet. Can you spot any feet? I can't spot any feet.
Unfortunately, you can't. Warped will have to back off with the rest of their team. They're not committing towards anything too far. Keep an eye on that player on the left-hand side. Don't know why Tiram was doing that. I saw a person and assumed, oh yeah, it must be a scout or a soldier or something, but Tiram just walking out and offering their body to the other side. However, the aggression seems to give them an opportunity, as here goes KN takes down APH, but importantly, no damage, no kill onto Mac or anyone important there, and yet again, Yak missteps, and Lucas has found an opportunity for their team, or at least more time for their team as Wolf goes aggressive, finishes off the scout, and the numbers advantage is now squarely in the hands of SKEDDA. Can they move this one forward? It's going to be difficult because there are still a decent amount of chokes to go through, but they will make it onto the point nonetheless. Tiram will jump away. The Uber is forced out here, and it comes out second from the side of SKEDDA, so they will have a little bit more time to play with if they so can. Eon forced back into Saw here, completely denied away as the rest of their team are shut down. Yes, Geordie dies, but losing so much, Eon is going to have to try and move around, and they're playing from low ground as well. It's just not happening. Yeah,
very, very good fight there coming out from the side of SKEDDA. They make it happen. Bust into mid, take all the high ground off them, and then just start fighting from there. The Uber trade was not great from Juno either, because Eon got launched into the stratosphere, and there was a moment where they couldn't get aggressive because of it. And Yak dies once again on second, and this is going to buy them so much space going into last now, and it's going to open up all kinds of opportunities. We should see just a mirror of what's happened previously, and it looks like they are going to be looking to bust directly into left side.
A complete misstep again from Yak that was very, very important, and now gives so much space over. Juno obviously a big pool of health to have to deal with, but it's getting forced on into spawn. Does survive, however, APH is already on top of at that point, trying to contest as much as he can. No stickies on it, but Kahan is going to go forward, and it's Olympus who makes the cap, and it's looking like that there's just not enough time for VNC to be able to pull this one out. 3 minutes on the clock. This is a long, long map. And I think all you have to do now, if you're SKEDDA to win this one, is just shut things down and chill out.
Yeah, I have doubts. But of them being able to bring around 2 rounds in 2 minutes on Snakewater, I mean, you got all the people out there being like, it's technically possible, but I don't think it's possible whatsoever.
Yeah, technically this, technically that. How about you actually do it at a really high level like this? This is a team who have the firepower to do it, but finding that success is going to have to be a big one, especially when you lose 3 players in a row on the mid and you lose the med. I mean, it's just Jova for them right now. SKEDDA might honestly roll this one all the way to last. They do lose their demo, but both those soldiers and the scouts are fully alive, and Geordie is already hunting for something.
Yeah, let's see if they can make it a 5-2. I think that's on the cards if you're the Mac team right now. SKEDDA already on to second. They're going to be making their way in, and they've got Vanu up on the sniper. He's going to be sniping from that spawn door just to see if he can wait and see if anyone's going to peek their head out. And they're going to start making their way across. Of course, they have to wait for Lucas Tank, who's currently rolling out. He's going to be jumping and meeting the rest of his team in lower as well. And they're going to get set up and ready for this last push, and it's looking like a top right push, a classic.
Yeah. Should be a good opportunity for them to again getting some damage on Lucas, but never really able to find that kill. Importantly, less slip-ups from the demo have been a huge game changer in this one. Lucas going to shot off the right spawn door, providing a lot of space, providing a lot of time. However, it is more than enough to cut it out. You saw maybe that the Heavy was looking to try and contest it, but it just wasn't there. SKEDDA, as you said, picking up a 5-2 is an impressive performance, but I don't want to kind of leave this map just talking about the fact that SKEDDA picked it up 5-2, because that is not like kind of representative of what happened here, right? We saw some brilliant play coming through from VNC, and honestly, if we don't see Yak die a couple of times there, I really think that VNC could have picked up that map.
Yeah, if they didn't have a couple of these sort of crucial mistakes, such as, you know, they had Eon dropping on Saw when he was leaving mid, and they had Yak feeding on second twice, just dying out in the open. If they just cut down on these mistakes and they played a little bit more controlled, a little bit more together, they might have had a better game, because it was 3-2 at one point, and that could have been 2-2 if they didn't have one mistake. It could have been 2-1 to them if they didn't have another mistake. So, you know, these little things do add up in a game of Team Fortress 2. So, yeah, all the difference makers, and of course, we got to throw it to the other side as well for mistakes being made, but Lucas Tank detting on himself, definitely one of them.
Yeah, it's really not what you want to see, and unfortunately it is what we did. I think that if we see a little bit of a change on that, and especially going into the next map, this is going to be a really interesting set. I think Process is going to be a map where that aggression that we've seen from VNC is also going to be way more viable, going to be way more problematic for the side of SKEDDA. So I think this is definitely going to be looking like a 3-game series, and I'm interested to see if SKEDDA have kind of learned a lot from this game and were able to kind of change the pace and kind of keep it more in control this time, because there were quite a few slip-ups where I think they lost control, and I think this is a team that really can't afford to do that against VNC.
Yeah, of course, I totally agree with you. But looking at some numbers, I bloody love numbers, Rook. They're great. I love some numbers, especially when you watch Lucas Tank's POV because he creates a spreadsheet every game when he fires a pipe. But noticing that he did 355 DPM, top damage on the server, 19 kills to his name, walked with the top kills alongside Vanu. So Vanu doing pretty well, for comparable to the rest of his team, with plenty of frags for him. Mostly soldiers and things like that. He was just denying every 5 seconds, so nicely done from him. But yeah, overall, stats don't lie. Mac had 4 deaths, Eon had 9. I mean, that just definitely tells you sort of how much more controlled. They were playing together as a unit, defending Mac as a team, whereas Eon just got caught out every now and again, caught on his own, not really scooted around by his team, not fully protected by his team. Just these individual bits that really separate the skill differences between these two rosters. So I think that the Yak team, more than anything, will be taking away from this a lot of sort of learning to do. I mean, Eon is a new medic to their team. They previously had Muffins, who was an experienced medic. So Eon joining this roster is he's got some feeling out to do. He needs to find his way with the chaos that is the Yak team.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got a team that is aggressive at this, keeping the meta alive is, I mean, while it should obviously be it still is quite high priority. It is not necessarily as much of a focus in at least the style that they play. So it is really going to be on Eon kind of keeping themselves safe more than anything else. And I think that does take a little bit of time to get used to. As you said, this team is very new together, mostly playing together for this tournament and kind of a little bit before that. And you're seeing that in some places. You're seeing that in some of the slip-ups. But you're also seeing that there's a lot of potential here. And when we get it, it's absolutely brilliant and actually a true wonder to see.
Yeah, and now we're moving on to the fun map of Process. So Process has previously been known to be, well, I think by everyone, as the 6v6 map. It's the classic. It's the comfort map for every team. Everyone has played Process about 1 billion times. Every pug lord has played it about 1,000 trillion times. And everyone just bloody loves Process. It's great. And I can't wait for it to get rotated out and for everyone to cry about it. But yeah, so on this mid in particular is going to be high bombs, rotator mids. There's so many different things that people have come up with nowadays. But I think the Yak team, they're just going to go for a send it. That's the classic Yak thing. They're just going to double bomb soldiers and send it across the mid and see what they can do. So, but with the added addition of actual better bombs, Snake Water does give you some limited opportunities to do bombs. Process will open you up to a whole host of random shenanigans.
Yeah, I think, as I said before, I really do think this map is going to be a lot more VNC favored, and I'm really excited to see that. APH and SNH, AF and SNH are going to have a lot of priority, a lot of focus on them and how they succeed in their jobs, because otherwise I think that there's going to be a lot of problems coming their way. I've been very impressed with what we've seen from KN and Tiram over the course of the previous map, and I'm excited to see more. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what they pick up. Vanu's showing a shortstop in warm up. I don't know if that means anything.
Shortstop is cracked. Yeah, I need to inform the audience that shortstop is busted. So there's a game theory, right? A theory that was developed by a certain man named Wild Piggy, who used shortstop on mid on Process, because the ranges that you fight in do support using the shortstop. If you're playing passive as a scout and you're firing these shortstop rounds across the mid, you're doing a lot more damage than you would with a normal scattergun. So it's an interesting pickup, to say the least, but it can work really well if used correctly. So I'm interested to see if Vanu does stick with using the shortstop, because it could be quite dangerous. But another thing that I did want to talk about as well, actually, is if we're going to be talking about soldiers doing jumps, we can't leave Warped out the equation. This man is a tier 9 million jumper. He knows every jump map that has ever jumped, as I see in Pencil Jump in the pregame. So if he's going to be doing any bombs, they're going to be fancy. They're going to land. He's going to end up in a really annoying spot that they're not going to be able to deal with.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this. I think this is going to be way more focus on those soldiers, which, as you say, does give a lot more space to people like Warped, and I think also makes for a very exciting kind of start to the game, especially with these mids, especially with the fact that we know there's going to be a lot of trigger pulling, essentially. There's going to be people just absolutely sending it, and that is on both sides. As you say, it's not just going to be the side of VNC getting aggressive. It will be aggression countered and meted aggression right on back.
Indeed, as we head into the game, quick predictions, any ideas?
I've got a bet on VSC, that's all I'm saying. I've been excited for them, they've been playing really well, and I'm looking to see more.
Fantastic stuff. We're into the mid. Take it away, Rick.
Indeed they are. Lucas trying to get a lot of damage, but already the bomb coming through. Mac is taken down. And there we say, these meds are not going to live very long. Both those soldiers down, and they're using it to catch out Yak. Brilliantly played here by the side of SKEDDA. They lose their med early on here, which obviously not great, but they use the fact that they take down both these soldiers to force them out and force them through. They are diving for Eon, who looks just about like they're going to survive. They are indeed, but that's second already taken as well by the side of SKEDDA.
Yep, and they're going to start retreating back out into mid. Everyone's going to be farming up all the health packs they can find because they've all got about 100 HP between them. So, and Eon has a full Uber charge to play with. Max going to be playing towards IT, looking to leave through that door as well as they start bringing the heals all the way to the point. And Jordy is actually going to win the 1v1 versus Yak in IT. What's Yak doing? Somebody tell me.
Oh, it's so unfortunate. KN taken away as well. That means this Uber advantage that Eon has, still, importantly, will not really amount to much. They still lose out on the mid. They're not able to use it towards anything. And frankly, if the bombs come on in here again, even with both scouts, it might not work out quite like how they want. They lose Junu just as Eon uses the Uber. So that means this is going to achieve basically nothing, and it's completely wasted. This is brutal.
That is very, very, very sad. If you are VNC, you get all of these lovely, lovely advantages, and then your demo, once again, we talked about it previous game where Yak was making a whole bunch of mistakes and ended up costing them quite a lot. And that in particular has now cost them maybe an entire round. So we're going to see what happens here with this push. I mean, we've got the standard setup, the sentry gun on the left, sniper in the door as the Uber comes in.
Heavy up on high ground here as well. Trying to contest from it. Trying to put down some good damage, but Eon has to fall down. Obviously worried as the soldiers are behind them. They get cut off. That's Yak gone again. And Eon kept in spawn here. Af will go down, but it's going to be SNH trying to contest this, trying to keep this one going. However, it is 3 versus 1, as it is actually a very nice hold from VNC here. In spite of kind of getting split up, in spite of the fact that there was a soldier in their backline, they hold strong, push on out, and now have pretty good Uber advantage, I believe. Let me just check. Yeah, 70 to like 75%.
Yeah, indeed. And also, I've got to say that overall, Af went down swinging right at the end there. I've got to mention that. But it was a good attempt at a push. They just don't deal the heavy fast enough. It eats a whole bunch of damage. All their projectiles just funneled into a bunch of healing players. So not a lot you can do. They're going to trade 1-for-1 here. Jordy's going to go down in trade of Vanu. So going to lose a scout here, which is very good if you're warped. Because he's going to walk across this top of this point, take down KN. And looks like they're going to lose more players here, unfortunately. Oh, Eon drops Uber! I didn't see where the stickies were, but he's dead now. No Uber in play for them, and Mac up to 70%. He's going to be just fine with Tyram. Sneaking his way in, jumping up and around, gets air shot, Mac dies!
Brilliantly played there by Tyram. Does mean that their team will likely have a little bit of Uber ad here, so nicely done for them. However, I really want to highlight the fact that SKEDDA, despite losing kind of a player almost straight away off the back of that, after that trade, managed to turn it around because they were just in such good position to deny away. Jordy quite far forward, gets some good damage and manages to take down Vanu, but does importantly lose their life. Keep an eye on Warped here, who is already relatively far forward. Those jumps are going to be even more scary. Janu's down, Warp does fall, but so does Eon. Lucas lands the damage, and Mac will just keep these players alive, keep on pumping that damage out as Apple stay alive, as KN will fall, and Mac is looking to just try and push it as far forward as much as they can. They already have that penultimate point, and as a result, they're just going to push on board right onto Lars, cap it away, and Process's first point goes to SKEDDA, despite brilliant play from VNC.
Yeah, very unfortunately if you're VNC there, but nice collapse as well coming out from the side of SKEDDA. They just sort of capitalise once again for all these sort of micro mistakes that are being made. They're really, really good at identifying when a mistake has been made and just doing as much as they can on top of it. But you gotta hand it to the man. Lucas Tank with the drop on mid changed everything.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the fact that they managed to find those picks is so impressive again. The highlight just how fantastic Lucas is taking down Tira and continuing to force them out of choke. It's so brutal, man. As soon as there's an advantage, you best believe Lucas is on top of it, just like Geordie was on top of Yak. Takes him down. No demo, and that's a great position for SKEDDA to be in, as again, that second point is looking way less defensible without a Demolitions man to lock it down. Vanu wants to contest onto grass here and does actually manage to find some success. Maybe the healing or maybe the positioning of the defending side here felt like a little bit too much for SKEDDA as they opt not on into that. Tiram gets caught, PN gets popped, and those soldiers that I had so much faith in are not actually divine very much. And I'd really like to make a shout out to AF and SNH to make that happen. The force coming through, and that's just brutal. It's falling apart the side of BNC. As I said, an emotional team, and unfortunately an emotional wreck right now, most likely. Frustrating to see for them, as these fights are just falling apart, it seems, man.
That was the saddest fight I've ever seen. I don't know what the call was there, but they wanted to go for a trade, but used the Uber on point, and now they're barreling into last. It's going to be an easy count for them as they smash onto the point. But Eon was on top of the point, and he uses the Uber, and Mac's still in choke. He's nowhere near the fight, so they have to drag their Uber into the choke. And by that point, they're around 40% Uber in. And Mac uses, and they're all doomed. Also, Geordie wins a 1v1 on a shutter door with 12 health. I don't understand. It's all over for them. A little bit of emotional damage. 2-0 is the scoreline.
Yeah. Oh man, it is just brutal to see. It's sniper to mid for KN here, and heavy for Tiram. That is, I mean, look, as I said, an emotional team. They do be doing slightly a little bit of tilting here, but what the heck? It's working out. They got a couple of picks, man, and I mean, yeah, Junu's low, Banu goes down and warps in the back line, but no, okay, then they're not finding much more than that, unfortunately. But KN is kind of cut off here, likely going to go down. Will in just a second as SMH finally cleans that up. It worked for a second, for a split second there. I thought very no Chuds were going to make that one happen. I thought I saw the magic. I saw the wonderful Christmas land where that worked, but it fell apart.
Full of magical fairies and things of that nature. But yeah, so yeah, it was working for a moment. Warp's going to be jumping in, jumping out again. Jordan's doing the same. They're just sort of spotting, trying to find out where that heavy is. Now he's spotted him on the low ground, so he's going to start rotating. Let me tell you, if they get this heavy on top of the second point, I don't know how you sack if you're these blue soldiers. This heavy's going to be sat there on top of the point with 450 HP, unkillable, nothing's getting to your medic, but they're wandering around, and I have no idea what the idea is from Tiram. I mean, oh my god, what happened there?
I do not know.
Sticky bombs, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scenario where, yeah, pushing this next point is going to be kind of difficult, right? They're going to be able to cut those bombers out of the sky. They see Warp, Tiram goes, okay, well, I'm moving back. We know where you are. Vanu's already in position to try and deny that position away. However, the rest of the team could easily move on in, especially with SNH managing to get towards lobby right now. They're going to have a lot of space to work with. Warp on 160 could get taken out if they were aggressive onto them, but will be relatively fine for now. As you said, 2 behind. The rest of the team looking to square up. You see Vanu was watching for it. Geordie gets taken out, so maybe that's a little bit extra time, and maybe they could turn onto these flankers and try and cut them out. But Yak steps forward, and my goat, my king of dying to stickies, it's Yak who goes down once again. They drop the med, and Lucas yet again putting on a showcase here of why you trust this man, of why he is one of the best demos in the world. And man, that's just brutal for BNC.
Oh my god, I'm so angry. If I was in this game, I'd be raging. Jesus, that was insane. They're going on to this point now. It's going to be another capture. But I mean, why is he going sewer? I'm so confused. Why they're 2 behind you. They lose 1 in front. You just run at them and trade and try and do something. Or you turn around, kill the players behind you. Literally anything other than running into sewer. But I don't understand. Once again, I am but feeble-minded in comparison to Yak as we're heading to another bit.
Yeah, good sticky there to open from Yak, but unfortunately not much to kind of capitalize on it.
That's
They've not got any off passes, importantly, this time, which might lead to a little more success for VNC, I would suppose. But they managed to get a couple picks earlier. Can they get anything here? Jordy, quite aggressive, gets the pack, but still goes down. They do trade back for Tiram. Yak is up close and personal, unfortunately. Gets a nice, warm, loving explosion to the body parts and is ripped limb from limb. Again, SKEDDA take control. The bomb from Lucas comes right on in, and you can see KN does actually manage to get one. But, I mean, he's still alive somehow, 30 health. Honestly, I don't know how he managed to make that one out. I thought they were going down for sure, but he's still contesting, still wondering if he can get this. But SNH will finish it off. Brutal coming on in there, and again, demonstrating just how strong SKEDDA are. They're calm, collected, in control, and VNC are just not there.
Mac hits it with a surf as well right at the end. He's going to surf all the way out. Back to Sewer. He's going to get that health back. They're going to get full HP. They have the Uber charge in tow. Yak once again feeds in lobby, so he's throwing the round once again. As we're heading into another last push with a full ad. Vanu is close on the heavy though. He might be able to catch someone.
Yeah, definitely looking to try and,
he's
give some charity, wanting to feed away that one. They were trying to contest somewhat, but it just doesn't look like it's happening. Again, torn apart. SKEDDA on 4.
Interestingly goes for Mac out of all of the players that he could have shot at there with the heavy. But once again, 4-0 is the scoreline. Yak has 6 points in 11 minutes. It's been a sad game if you're the Yak demo man. But they have decided that they're going to go cookie cutter classes for this mid-fight. So we're going to see what happens. I don't have a lot of faith, I'll be honest.
No more high fantasy mids coming out from the side of VNC, unfortunately. As they will actually get some more success by trading 1-for-1 with Lucas gone. That means one more bomber, one less bomber to worry about. But Vanu takes from the sky. Yak starts to dial things up, wants to try and contest that a little bit more. 3 versus 3. As you can see, Kayon trying to push forward with Janu now jumping in. They have a little bit more, and they take that mid fight finally.
It was upsetting that we didn't get to see that on the stream, but Geordie absolutely destroyed Vanu there in the sky. Oh wait, Vanu's playing Soldier, I've realised. Vanu goes Soldier and immediately gets outshot by Geordie. Name the scoreline. Anyway, Uber trade coming in. Nice meat shot immediately onto Yak, causes Eon to use the Uber. He's had to flash. So this Uber is slightly better for the blue team, but not quite. They're just going to head back, reset, do what they came to do. Tiram feeds his life away on the scout up in IT, so this is going to open some things up on mid.
That's indeed. Yak is falling back as those sticks not quite in the right position, gets caught from the side, doesn't go down however. Geordie is the first to fall, at least in this exchange, and they will manage to move on around. Yak very far forward here as Warped is picked out of the sky. Eon's so low here, but importantly still alive. Manages to get that pack and manages to keep things in control for their team. As the rest of them step forward, Yak forward and alone. This is a recipe for disaster, one that we've seen time and time again, but does manage to get their team to back them up. They will take a second here and will look to settle for last.
Indeed, and hopefully with Kaon on Pocket Scout, they might be able to kill some things with an Uber charge, who knows? And 80%, Varney's up on the sniper, on the respawner, so going to be trying to see what they can do into last. The first time that SKEDDA's had to be on last. It's unfamiliar territory, and AF doesn't know how to play engineer.
That's a strange place to be. Maybe they're feeling like they can just win these fights and push right back on out. Feeling confident. I mean, understandably so, right? After what has been
a pretty
brutal flogging, has finally, as you say, decided to change on over. A very good call here. They're going to have enough time, especially with Vanu over on this sniper. They're playing the long game, man. But Geordie doesn't quite catch it.
No, indeed, and they're just going to be setting up here. Sentry gun number 1 on the point, and they've got Lucas Tank watching roll out at 1, which is exactly what you'd like to see. A soldier holding 1 and 2 can sometimes be a little bit iffy, so they're going to hold their soldiers towards the lobby instead. Just tank them up with the medic and just spam those angles the best they can. Geordie also using the shotgun, which you love to see on last points. I mean, if you're going to be getting healed more, why do you need the gunboats? Just take a shotgun. Have 2 guns. 2 guns better than 1 gun.
True, true. They can work. SNH trying to relive his COD fantasy days of getting a no-scope there, but unfortunately it doesn't quite work out as they are going to just try and work those angles. Vanu over on 5, as you guys might be able to see. And SNH picks out Janu, who just steps way too far forward, and another one falls right there as Geordie goes out, but does mean it's still a relatively slow last here for the side of SKEDDA. VNC not able to push it on in, but are hemorrhaging players to SNH on this sniper.
Oh, a bomb coming in from Warped as well. Unfortunately, goes down, gets no-scoped by Vanu up there in the sky before Yak can hit the air shot. That would have been a point of shame for him if that landed. So looks like they're going to be going in. It's an Uber trade. They use out very early. They're flashing onto all the players. No one's died yet. Mac uses out the Uber charge. It's a soldier Uber. And Yak, once again, is dead.
Wrong place, wrong time yet again for Yak. Even though they found a pick with that Uber, even though they got rid of the sentry as well, that could have been a big opportunity for them. They squander it. A bit of a misstep might lead to an advantage for the side of SKEDDA, but they hemorrhage 2 players. Max gets a nice frag, and finally with SNH coming back out, no longer on that sniper, able to find a lot of success for the team as Lucas helps out as well. And they're going to push out of last here. Yak is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Surprise, surprise! As Lucas takes him down. And yet again, it's the side of SKEDDA pushing out and having a lot of success.
Now, can we count, ladies and gentlemen, how many times Yak has died on second and caused them to lose a point? I mean, I feel like this is just a recurring theme at this point. It's not else. You can just push in freely without having to worry about any sticky traps because their demo is in the respawn queue for half the game. So they're heading out onto mid, easy peasy, and they're going to have this Uber to boot as well. Looks like they're taking out IT here.
Honestly, I mean, I'm interested to see the logs after this one because they will be interesting, especially the numbers under Yak. Normally you'd want to say that the other way, but unfortunately it is in a very negative sense. Vanu has to back off, is swapping over to the engineer now, but will they have enough time with Tiram going down as well? They're at a player disadvantage. I'm not sure where the Ubers are. It's going to be 100% for Eon, I believe similar, for Mac. They need to maybe go for something here to take it down the turret and work their way on in. They take quite a slow approach here and manage to find success in taking out the sentry. Even so, a little bit late on the here for Mac. Doesn't lose a player, but it doesn't really matter when they're finding frags such as these. Mac will eventually expire on that Uber charge, and so will Geordie expire on the life bar, and Mac will join him too.
SNH 1v3, he can actually win it as well. He's got good health. Rest of these 2 players, he gets one. He's on the cap.
I believed, honestly, the way you were saying it. I was fully committed to SNH clutching that one out, but unfortunately it just wasn't meant to be. And it's going to be VNC pushing out again. To what avail? I have no idea.
No idea again, but yet again, Eon with another drop on the logs. Classic Eon gameplay by the sounds of things. Geordie going in behind as well, landing onto Yak on rollout as well. He's super weak. They're just going to bust in real deep. Yak on second, and he's dead again. And they're going to be heading into, well, they need to cap second first of all, which they haven't done. SNH is rolling out, so he'll get there soon, but Lucas Tank is already out onto last, and they're just trying to get as much space as they can before they even make a push happen.
Oh, that is just sad to see. Sad. 70% for Eon here. If they can charge it up, that might be an opportunity for them to try and deny this. KN over on the Pyro really wants to stop these players from getting through, but Lucas lands a beautiful pipe once again. 90% for Eon. If they can keep this up, if they can get something going, if they have Janu providing that there, they use, again, trying to push them out, trying to get something. I believe Mac will be close, or has already, uses in the end, but it was just a complete milking of the opponent's Uber, complete denying away, and even the emote coming out from Mac here. As they know, they knew they had it. SKEDDA. Jeez,
oh god, I just want to point out Eon disconnects before the last cap even goes through. That man had a bit of a shocker in this game. A bit of mental damage being inflicted there, but what can you do? 5-0, the final scoreline. Much deserved from SKEDDA. 2 different levels here, and SKEDDA are on form by the looks of things. Yet they came second last season, definitely showing it in this game.
Yeah, I mean, what an impressive performance from them. Again, very coordinated, feeling like they're always on the same page. As you said, the bombs on this map were beautiful chef kiss. I really love to see that from them, and a bit more aggression than we saw in Snakewater, as is befitting the map. Again, a very flexible team, demonstrating they know what they do and they do what they know.
They do what they do and they do what they know. That's impressive.
It sounds really simple, right? But it really isn't, especially when you're playing at such a high level as these guys are, coordinating, making sure you're pushing in the right places, making sure you're doing that as a team. And it feels like this team, I mean, it was simply a game of how many unforced errors were there? And we didn't see, we saw very few, especially on process, from SKEDDA. And I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind, is that they just were not slipping up. And there are those logs. I want to look down where Yak. 15 deaths. Holy.
4 to 15.
Holy Yak, man.
That's a scoreline if I've ever seen one. Oh, Lucas Tank there, 20 to 4. on the other side, 7,000 damage at 407 DPM. That man was farming.
Yeah, I mean, what a performance on the whole. Just brilliant play across the 2-game series, and kind of putting a nail in the coffin, honestly, and right through very naughty Chuds. It was brutal, frankly.
Yeah, it was absolutely demolishing. And I mean, once again, mentioned it before, Eon had more deaths this game. What can you do? I'm not going to rank him too much, but he had an unfortunate performance throughout the series, unfortunately. I mean, they made it, like you mentioned before, they made it this far. I mean, you've got to be good to make it this far at this level. So, I mean, pats on the backs all around, but I think very naughty Chuds definitely met their match in this series, irregardless of what the numbers say. 5-0 on process is just the scoreline in the end that is showing sort of what the matchup was made of. I mean, they got rolled over. Destroyed, some would say.
Yeah, 3 drops for Eon, but I think honestly a lot of them weren't really their fault. Just the fact that they weren't quite in there, they were quite spread out, that there's so many bomb routes, there's only going to be so many ways you can stop that as the medic. And it really is sad to see. I was very impressed with their performance otherwise. But as you say, just a general team outclassing here, and it makes a big difference, right, when it's a team who have only come together relatively recently for VNC versus a team who have endured time after time.
Indeed, yeah. And I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing this VNC team going forwards into the next season as well. Very naughty Chuds. They'll be sort of one to watch either in Prem, playing bottom Prem, or they'll play Division 1 and they'll smash people around and they'll have a good season there. So either way, they're going to be learning some things. This roster does have a lot of potential, so I'm excited to see what they do next season. But on the other side as well, SKEDDA. I mean, you know, they're doing things. They came second in Prem. Let's see what they can do. As the next game that we've got, ladies and gentlemen, is the grand finals of the 6v6 Summer Brawl, which I can't wait to see, Rook. Me and you, we just get to spectate this one. We get to sit back and relax as that's going to be taken to you by the Turbo Tabs and the Beta and the Samus on production. So that'll be a spicy one.
An absolute corker. Definitely looking forward to catching that one. And yeah, I'm just absolutely stoked. Seeing more SKEDDA, honestly, will be an absolute joy. For definite.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. The sponsors of Gladiator.tf, go check them out. They do trading bots and things. If you enjoy some trading, do you enjoy hats at home? If the answer is yes, Gladiator.tf is for you. Go check them out. This has been Essentials TF. Big shouts to J Max Chill for producing. Thank you very much, sir. You've been wonderful this entire tournament, making sure everyone's actually doing things. If we didn't have you, we'd be lost. So thank you very much. Any shouts you want to throw out there, Rook?
Shout out to you for being a fantastic caster. We catch him on lucky_TF at Twitter.
Oh, thanks, guys. Anyway, yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the grand finals. See you in a bit.